the landmass, he moved slowly with utmost caution. To its amazement, the landmass was hard and solid, and a report was thus made to Sanoboa. Olokun led the Beninese and some spiritual world being from the spirit world to settle on the land and name it Idu. In another version, Osanoboa had 7 children living with him in the spirit world, Eimi, and he sent them to inhabit and develop the earth. The youngest of them embarked on the journey with a snail shell full of sand, while the other traveled with money, magic, skills, and other material items. In the course of their journey, they found out that there was water everywhere, and the youngest son was advised by the bird Omomo to spread sand to make it form land, and they named the land Idu. His brothers later joined him on the land with part of their inheritance from the spirit world. The white men, Europeans, turned up last after all the land has been shared, but the desired land for the habitation of earth. He therefore pleaded with the youngest child to give him the snail shell so he could try to create some land with some of the sand still left inside. The youngest child obliged him. On getting the snail shell from him and washing it with water, some land appeared. However, he noticed that the body of water surrounding and within the landmass was salty, due to the fact that there was salt on the posterior end of the chair, which spilled into the water. From this source, the salt spread to other big water bodies, accounting for why seawater is salty. Another version has big house for him, and thereafter installed him as king. The man was said to have called the people the Idus. These 4 versions are meticulously and exhaustively treated in one of the author's books, Oloku Worship in Benin Kingdom. The controversial version that Benin migrated from Egypt is also upheld by another school of thought. Another version is not credible or logical, is that Oduduwa dropped from the sky and formed Ile-Ife and later Benin. Reactions to this account totally disagreed with the 2 versions. One shares Prince Eweka's view, know that, but it must also be stated that this writer believes that the Nok culture is totally of Edo origin. There is no disputing this. If our archaeologists carried out their investigation on the Nok civilization with a specific, unbiased mind, they will reach this conclusion. What one learns from this oral tradition on the origin of Benin is that the Benin believe they are not descendants of any other tribe of people. They also believe that the land they inhabit was given to them by Osanobua. Late Prince Ena Eweka, in his book, The Benin Monarchy, earlier quoted, remarked that whichever way one look at the origin of the Edo people, both historically or mythically, one comes to the conclusion that a lot of research still needs to be carried out on it. The Edo themselves believe that they were the original people of their land, and even though it cannot be ruled out that other people might have migrated to join them here, modern archaeological findings shows that the oldest human skull was found in Africa. Here in Nigeria, the Nok civilization has thrown new light on the actual age of African civilization. Who knows if the Nok civilization in itself is not a spillover of the early Edo people, especially at the regions occupied by both Edos and the Nok are within the same landmarks. Despite the raging controversies among academics over the question of Benin origin, the Benin nevertheless continued to occupy the front stages of world attention since the British punitive expedition of 1897. In that year, British troops invaded Benin City in retaliation for the killing of some British soldiers over questions of right of entry into the city when the royal monarch Oba Osariemen ne Oba C 1888 to 1914 customarily was not supposed to receive any visitor. The Benin have also been getting world attention because they are a people with rich past, put at over 6,000 years old, while the royal dynasty is said to have a history of over 1,000 years behind it. Invariably, the whole world in modern time consider the Beninese, their present monarch, norms, values, traditions, as well as artifacts, as an enduring mirror of their great past. This world interest in the Beninese is heightened by the fact that their kingdom is a few of those which live comfortably in the present while still wearing the aura and mystics of their past, even though the kingdom has passed through the hot furnace of colonialism as well as civilian and military rule from the 18th century to May 1995. Benin holds much to the late historians Dr. J.U. Igarewa for his pioneering effort in preserving the history of Benin. I had the singular honor of editing his last work, Eme Edagbome, published by Ethiop Publishing Company. Due to the early difficulties in getting his work published, he compromised certain aspects of Benin history and heritage, although this created a very significant problem and setback for our true essential posture cultural and traditional milieu. Time has started to collect them. I'll be taking a rest break. Thank you very much. I've read a book by Greg Ogbefu, Not Always Easy. The book is a typical story from grass to grace. This is our typical Edo-born man who has risen from the bed of poverty to who he is today. You can read that book. Another book by the Iyase of Benin Kingdom, Sam O.U. Igbe, From Birth to Death. We are currently on a book by High Priest Osemige Egbon Egwai Obanedo. Thank you very much. This Jeremiah. You, so I had 1 more minute. You wicked, you. Wait now. Although this created a very significant problem and setback for our time, our true existential posture, cultural and traditional milieu. Time has started to correct them. He, in his book, A Short History of Benin, wrote that the Benin came from Egypt to secure shelter in this part of the world after a brief stay in Sudan, Ile-Ife. Many modern historians and anthropologists disagree with this assertion, and a lot of other versions of it. Oh God. Prince Enabasimi Eweka, in his book Evolution of Benin Chieftaincy title 1992, argues that the origin of the kingdom are lost in myth and antiquity, from which survives only a tradition of migration from east that is common to many West African people. It went further. The origin of the Edo people remain in Edo land. I have its origin from Egypt, which tend known to our start culture of the Edo. The nearest form and style to Edo culture is that of ancient Romans, whose law, cultural, social, and architectural form compares in similar themes to the ancient Benin or Edo. This is not to say that the Benin migrated from Rome, but it indicates that life springs up at different points on the earth. Surface and the Edo people cannot be excluded from such a natural phenomenon. In short, no one can say where the Edos came from. The late Oba Erediawa, in his foreword to the book, wrote inner earlier, I am inclined to agree with the author view that the Benin people do not come from Egypt, especially as the author put it. The Egyptians' writing culture is significantly absent in the Benin or Edo culture. I also share his view that anthropologists and even ethnologists should delve into the distant past to trace Benin origin. This royal injunction is an indication that all problems or issues regarding the origin and history of the Benin people will soon be put to rest. No matter the angle from which one consider it, Benin people from the inception of it, over 1,600 years of existence, is a great African kingdom. Position of Benin in the structure of Nigeria. As far back as the 7th century, the great Benin Kingdom was already widely known for its far-reaching influence, which extended to Sierra Leone on the west. The Benin Empire was situated in the southeast on the Yoruba land, which at the summit of its power extended as far as Lagos and Badagry in the west. So, the present-day eastern Nigeria in the east to the Kukuruku in the north and the Congo River in the south, it was formerly a trading settlement that grew and became a city of the old Benin Delta province. And there are maps to that effect. On May 12, 1969, the then Lieutenant Colonel Yakubu Gowon led government divided the country into 12 states. The Benin found itself in what was later known as Midwest region. The area originally known as Midwestern region of Nigeria, later Benin State, and now made up of Edo State and Delta State, lies approximately between longitude 500 east and 6 degree 45 east, and between latitude 4 degree 45 north and 7 degree 30 north. It covers an area of 14,922 square miles. It shares common boundaries with Kogi, Kwara, Western, East Central, and River States. In the southwest and south, it has a 80-mile coastline bounded by the Bight of Benin on the Atlantic Ocean. In 1976, there was a redefinition of the political structure of Nigeria, which resulted in the increase of the existing 12 states to 19 in the federal Murtala Mohammed-led government, and the Benin nation found itself among various nationalities that form Benin State. The status quo was never altered by successive military and civilian governments that ruled the country from February 13, 1976, when Murtala Mohammed was killed in a failed bloody coup, until when the General Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida took over on the 27th of August 1985. Babangida created more states, including Edo and Delta, out of the existing Benin states. Exactly 6 years later, August 27th, 1991, with the development, the Benin make the main part of Edo State, and it has remained so till date. Today, Nigeria is made up of 774 local government areas. Edo State has 18. Edo North Senatorial District has 6. Edo Central has 5, while Edo South has 7. Census compilation indicates that the Benin forms 58% of the population of Edo State. The people, with their revered traditional institutions, the Benin monarchy have weathered storms to remain one of the oldest and highest developed monarchies. The Benin monarchy has occupied this position from as far back as the 11th century, in spite of structural changes which were dictated by the political dynamics of the nation. Writing or talking, Benin history is becoming more problematic than defining religion. Most historians and scholars now prefer to write or talk on diverse areas of Benin than our origin or history. The reason is not far-fetched. It is because of the problem created by pioneer writers of Benin history, whether foreign or local, who falsified many aspects of it, either deliberately or due to ignorance. To set the record straight, we will discuss pre-colonial and colonial Benin and our people, the great Obas, their contribution, and the Benin-Ife relationship. Benin art. Nigeria's enviable position in the realm of culture is accounted for by our heritage from Benin. Ife and Nok, the leading centers. The popularity of Benin art is particularly extend Benin art in particular extend beyond Africa and to the world outside, and its arts treasure are today object of study by scholars. One cannot separate Benin from the arts. It is the language in many areas, but in particular, Benin origin. The Beninese originally used art as a means of storing information, recording their history. Without art, much of the Benin histories and culture will be completely lost in time. It is essential that the history of this art is not lost in this study. The main form, of which is bronze work, is said to have been introduced around 1280 AD by Oba Ogwola. Traditionally, Obas of Benin are usually patrons of the arts and were themselves highly skilled artists. They maintain a group of bronze sculptures, brass casters, wood, and ivory carvers within the palace. The purpose was to record the memorial events or produce memorable effigies of dead Oba, heroes, heroines, figures representing the spirits of dead ancestors, household gods or goddesses which were worshipped. The deities include Ogun, the god of iron, Ake, guardian of women, Iye, patrons of mothers. Other craftsmen and artists work outside the palace, and arts families are still found at Igun Street in Benin City. Song, dance, and drama cannot be isolated from the Benin way of life. In every aspect of life, the Beninese use the form of art to express feelings. The Beninese are known worldwide for their amazing skills in dance, drama, and music, using a variety of musical instruments. A brief history of Benin. The Benin Kingdom is one of the oldest surviving kingdoms. It is about 2054 years old. The Ogiso dynasty lasted for about 854 years, including an interregnum period of about 285 years. Between the reign of Ogiso Orire and Ogiso Odia, there was an interregnum of 70 years between Ogiso Wodo and Oba Oremia, plus 845 years of the institution of the Obaship to date. The story of the Benin Empire will best be appreciated if the history from the beginning to the present day can be looked at from three reconstructions. 1. The foundation period. that include the gerontocracy 700 AD and Ogiso period 900 to 1170 AD. 2. The second period, or the new dynasty of kings and obas 1200 to 1897 AD, and the third period, post-colonial period, and Benin independent political Nigeria 1914 to present day. The foundation period. The foundation period that include the gerontocracy 700 AD and Ogiso period 900 to 1117 AD, founded by the supreme god according to its myths of origin. From 40 BC, when the Ogiso king began to rule, the kingdom went on to achieve one greatness or another. Today, the whole world agrees that the Benin achieved greatness in the past and accepts it that it is still ongoing. The foundation. Today, it is still ongoing and is still doing so. This greatness of Benin Kingdom has been celebrated at home and in diaspora. The first period of the Benin Kingdom Empire saw leadership by Ogisos. One of the most prominent Ogisos was Igodo, very first Ogiso. He waged much influence and gained popularity as a ruler. He lived and reigned long and was succeeded by his eldest son, Ere. Ere was a peaceful and progressive-minded ruler who founded many villages, including Ego and Eroi and crafts groups, Owina, traditional carpenters, and Igbesawa carvers in wood and ivory. He also introduced Ekpoki cocks and hens, decorating male paternal and female maternal ancestral altar. The main ancestors' shrine is called Asein Noire. The female ancestors' shrine is called Asein Newa. The list of the Ogisos: Igodomire, 6 Oria, 7 Emose, 10 Odoligie, 11 Wa, 12 Enede. The Obas. The second period, or the new dynasty of kings and Obas 1200 to 1897 AD, and the third period around 1700. The system of primogeniture was instituted by Oba Ewakbe. This is the system of the oldest son of the last monarch reigning in the stead of the deceased monarch. The system by which every living son surviving the departed monarch reigns until it gets to the surviving grandchildren according to seniority was replaced. Omonoya Oremia opened the second period of the Benin dynasty. He took up abode in the palace built for him at Usama, which is now one of the coronation shrine or site. The second era proper started about 1200 when Oba Ewekan I, the son of Oromira, ascended the throne. Within the second period, Benin was at various times ruled by Omonoya Eweka I, Uwakwae, Emie Ewedo C1255, Ogwala C1280, Edoni C1295, Udagbedo C1299, Oe C1334, Ogbeka C1370, Orobiru C1400, Waifokun C1430, Ewaye the Great C1430, C1440, Ezoti C1473. Shortest reigning Oba, he ruled for 14 days. Olua C1473, Ozolua C1481, Esige 1504, Ogwa 1550, Ebuda 1578, Oan 1606, Aeza 1641, Akenze 1661, Akengboe 1669, Ahekpaye 1675, Akengbedo 1684, Oregene 1689, Ewakpe 1700, Ozere 1712, Akenzwa the First 1713, Eresoye 1735, Akengbuda 1750, Obanosa 1804, Ogbegbo 1416, Osenede 1816, Adolo 1848, Ovorame 1888. The third period, post-colonial Benin and Benin in independent political Nigeria, 1914 to present date. Oba Eweka II opened the third period when he ascended the throne of the Benin Empire. His reign was subjected to the sovereignty of the colonials and the British government. The kingdom is still in the third period and has so far witnessed the reign of Oba Eweka II, 1914, Akenzwa II, 1933, Erediawa, 1979, Oba Ewaye II, ní Ogidigan, the reigning monarch. He ascended the throne on the 20th of October 2016. Chapter 2. History of Egwai Obanedu, the palace of the Oba of Benin. Introduction. During the reign of the Ogisos, the palace was at Ugbeku, which is about 6 kilometers east of Benin. The last Ogiso palace was located in the present-day Ring Road, where the National Museum is sited, and it was called Ogbe Ogiso, and now renamed Oba Ovuramen Square. The Ring Road was originally called Aroisone Obobo, the site of the first palace built at Ugbeku. Now a national monument was built about AD 904. By now, the Ogisos named Igodomigodo 36 years after his successor. Ere moved the palace to Umuidu, now known as Third East Secular, where it remained until about AD 1170. When the last Ogiso Owodo was banished from the throne for high-handedness and maladministration, Evian was appointed administrator. During the interregnum which followed, the Beninese became fed up and wanted him out, but Evian refused to leave the palace. Thus, the neglected palace, some of its attraction, splendor. A new palace was, however, constructed at Usama Siloko Road, about 1170, for Osariemen Omonoya, who at the request of Benin was sent from Ile-Ife by his father Izodua, a Kaladera, the grandson of Owodo, the last Ogiso of Benin. He, however, refused to use this new palace at Usama, but his son, Eweka I, used it when he ascended the throne as the Oba of Benin. Two other Obas of Benin, Wakwae and Ehemie, also lived in the palace after the passing away of Eweka I. As a result of the persistent harassment that became an excruciating social injury by Uzama, the kingmakers, who claimed equal power with Oba Wedu, the eldest son of Ehemie, moved the palace from Usama to the present site at Ogbe. The Usama, during the coronation ceremony, the Usama Palace is now used as one of the sacred traditional shrines during the coronation ceremony. Sometimes around 1255, Oba Ewedo Coconut, who had fled from Usama Palace immediately after his coronation, started building a new palace on a piece of land which was for centuries used as a public cemetery. At Ogboka, Felix Udubo Art Gallery on Esokpomba Road now occupies part of the very site Oba Ewedo built his palace upon. The palace consisted of 10 streets, Ogbaba, and each Ogbaba was named after a particular Oba. That is how the Beninese began to name streets after Obas like Ehebuda Street and so on. About 1816, the second son of Oba Nosa usurped the throne for 18 months. The civil war that ensued saw Ogbebo vanquished and out of despair. He burned down the palace and hung himself. The same year, the palace was rebuilt by Osariemen, but part of it was destroyed in 1897 during the British reprisal invasion of the Great Benin Kingdom. In 1915, Eweka II rebuilt part of the palace, but this time it consisted of 201 rooms. By tradition, the palace should have no less than 201 rooms, but it could be more. This was again razed down by fire in 1922 during the reign of Eweka II, who decided to roof the palace with corrugated iron sheets, since the former palace was roofed or thatched with ehwe. The roof now stands on massive pillars, walls coated with superior marbles, and other ceramic tiles. The Oba now settles traditional matters, which include matters of land, inheritance, in which women are either complainants or witnesses. Because women traditionally go to Eguahematon, some ceremonial festivals also held at the Eguahematon. It was built or established at the beginning of the reign of Eba Ewari Ogidigan in the 16th century. Summary of the history of Anedo. Palace, period of construction, location of palace. Although the palace has changed considerably